Hello everyone, I'm Caillou and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Lafayette for the MSEM format. Today we're going to be watching the round 1 match between HonckrowDavid, who is on Abzan Humans, versus Cyanogynist, who is on an Abzan aggro deck of their own, but they're on Abzan Soulblade, which is essentially like a synergistic aggro deck, which uses recursive threats like this Departed Evangel we see here, alongside the titular card Soulblade, which essentially combos with Herald of Oblivion, our format's Death's Shadow. So I think Cyanogynist is going to be more explosive, but David is going to try and aim to be more disruptive. And I don't know if some of these are going to be like relevant, like the Spellbane Adept, which David's flashing in with the Monument to the Fallen Man. Notably doesn't have the right mana, but Monument is an Aether Vial for 2 CMC creatures. It's Spellbane Adept, not sure that it can do much in this matchup. I think Cyanogynist has like a Pit Wilt, which is kind of just like par for the course when you're in this kind of, like in any kind of BX deck, but not much else in terms of interaction. Okay, he grabs a Sunlit Fisher off a fetch main 2 after swinging with the Depart Evangel. Going to play out a Frenzied Watchkeeper. So Watchkeeper is going to be good in this matchup. It's also specifically in this deck both because it's a good Soulblade target, and it works well with Harriet, Departed Wildborn, which is a 2 CMC creature which removes all counters from a permanent when it enters. The original intention, of course, was to be Planeswalker removal, but it also combos very well with these creatures that enter with -1/-1 counters. So yeah, the aggressive start from Cyanogynist, and David can't even swing in here because Cyanogynist just takes it and then swings back in with Frenzied Watchkeeper next turn to recoup it. Has perfect mana, however, which is good. Might have the the signature King Ulfric here, but I'm not certain. Okay, gonna manually play a Purging Watchkeeper. Has a mana up to be able to exile something. And yeah, it then is going to swing in with the Spellbane Adept. The thought being that if Cyanogynist swings in with either creature, David can just exile something and eat it. Cyanogynist can recast Departed Evangel if that's the case, but then David, starting next turn, can just exile it. Also has a Monument up, so could potentially even just flash in a creature. Okay, so it's going to engrave the Purging Watchkeeper. This is a pretty expensive removal spell in the terms of having to double shock yourself, but it's instant speed and it kills anything. Sometimes it's all you need, and it turns out it did have another instant piece of interaction, so I definitely did miss that. Okay, in response is going to Purging Watchkeeper and exile a land. That way David can at least gain a life off of it, and wasn't going to be doing anything else with that mana anyways. This does let Cyanogynist swing in unabated with these 2 creatures, though, and continue to put a clock on David. Doesn't really care about losing the life to engrave because, Watchkeep just gains it back all again. And yep, gets a swing in for 4. David going to, on end, Monument to the Falling Man in, Servant of Akatosh. Seems like a reasonable card in terms of being like a lord for the human tribe, but again, like right now, even though Cyanogynist has less life, they have a hardy command of the board. So David's going to have to find some way to change that. Okay, this is a battle of swinging for the hills. Gonna swing all out, poke Cyanogynist for 4. Now King Ulfric? No, okay, Scion of Fecundity. And this is actually really good because whatever David finds here can immediately flash in with Monument to the Fallen Man. And is completely fine trading Scion with something else, just because then David gets to do it all over again. Okay, getting another Spellbane Adept. I guess doing that because David knows that Cyanogynist has a Pithwilt, because Cyanogynist tried to play one last turn before the engrave, before David reminded them about the Spellbane Adept. So, unfortunate case of giving information. Oh, but here's what I mentioned before, Harriet liberated Wildborn. What are you going to sacrifice? Didn't sacrifice a permanent as an addition. Okay, he's going to sacrifice a Departed Evangel. And then you're going to pump up his Frenzied Watchkeep into a 7/7. And yep, no reason not to just swing with it. The question is, does David trade the Scion? I think trading the Scion makes sense, yeah. Or not trading, but chumping with it. Because then you get to use it again next turn if you need more options. It can't attack in because Harriet eats it anyways, so But yeah, Frenzied Watchkeep on the offensive and then Harriet on the defensive is just really good. Because this means David can no longer attack with Akatosh. Attacking with the Spellbane Adept means that it gets traded. Or if you would, or like if you attack poorly with it, then like if you attack with both Spellbanes, then like then Cyanogynist can just swing on the crackback with Harriet. Oh, is going to do it anyways. I guess the thought is can just revive Scion, find another as a chump blocker for Harriet. Oh, but Cyanogynist is going to take the trade with Spellbane. Interesting, interesting. Huh, so no revive on the Scion, just going to play a mana ascetic. And then, oh, the reason for that is wants to keep up a mana to exile Frenzied Watchkeeper with this out-of-body experience. In response, Cyanogynist is going to engrave the Spellbane Adept, I suppose? I don't know if that was work. I guess now the Cyanogynist isn't going to be gaining the life. The thought is needs to take out that impending threat. But still, you're almost doing more damage to yourself. Gets the 1/1 token off of the out-of-body experience, so can block the Servant of Akatosh with that. Problem is, if David can just revive Scion of Fecundity, grab another Servant, and then monument it in, and then at that point, can just swing out fully. Oh, and it's gonna Shawlbinder. I guess doesn't have a desert, so otherwise could just immediately kill the token. Okay, this turn is gonna revive the Scion, discarding the out-of-body experience. Don't need another for that elemental, and I think you just grab another Servant of Akatosh and swing for the hills. Is my intuition here. Yeah, this game was looking like handily in Cyanogenesis' favor, but this Scion being able to just toolbox for all of these cards and generate so much card advantage for David. And yep, here comes another Servant of Akatosh. Cyanogenesis has also been like mana screwed for a while now, to be fair. But yeah, this is solidly lethal. Or at least is next turn. Yeah, is forced to block the Shawlbinder. Takes 4. I don't think Cyanogenesis has anything that can get them out of this. Doesn't run any board wipes, obviously, because they're an aggro deck. And yeah, Cyanogynist sees their draw and then just immediately concedes. Makes sense. Didn't really have any outs there. Let's take a look at what sideboarding might do for each of these decks. So Demon Worthy is a little expensive in this matchup, I think, and your main board interaction is already fine, so I don't think you bring this in. Seal of Tomb and Memento Mori are fine versus the Scion of Fecundity, but I don't know that they're where you want to be. Unbreachable Walls and Invalidate similarly. I don't think that you really need to bring anything in. I could see swapping the Engraves for Memento Mori just to avoid losing yourself life in a matchup where both players are basically on the beatdown. Other than that, I don't think there's any sideboarding that Cyanogenesis should make. Let's pop over to David and see. So for David, Root Dancer could slow Cyanogenesis down a bit, but I don't know if it matters. Sigil is Grave Hate, which actually is relevant because it stops Departed Evangel, it stops Soulblade. I could definitely see the Sigils coming in. Other than that, Demon Worthy, again, I don't think is necessary here. The Chains, the Potions, all of these seem to be 2 cards for other decks. So I think Root Dancer maybe, but I don't think that this is the matchup. I think it's more for the artifact decks. And then Sigil of Radiance out, I don't know, probably can take out 2 Paragon of Honors. I don't think that they're relevant here. So game 2 has started. It looks like Cyanogenesis has led on a Frenzied Watchkeeper. David's going to respond with a Monument to the Fallen Man. Essentially making Cyanogenesis spooked about swinging in with this Frenzied. Of course, if Cyanogenesis has a... Oh, on upkeep, looks like is going to flash in a Spellbane Adept. Makes sense. What I was thinking is that if David had a Shawlbinder, even if Cyanogenesis had Harriet here, could force Harriet sack a land, and then Cyanogenesis beefs up the Watchkeeper, but then you can just Shawlbinder and then flicker the Frenzied Watchkeeper. Okay, Cyanogenesis is going to run out the Pitwilt actually this time, killing the Monument to the Fallen Man before it can do too much work. Still has the Spellbane Adept to contend with, but is just going to David's just going to trade that with the Frenzied Watchkeeper. Despite losing the Monument to the Fallen Man, is still up on cards. Oh, and did bring in the Demon Worthies, and is going to use it to exile a land here. Hitting any permanent is very relevant. And this puts Cyanogenesis off 2 of their colors. Of course, does use his whole turn to do it, but, you know, just Stone Raining your opponent and cutting them off colors might actually just be worth it. Let's see what Cyanogynist responds with. It does have a third land, and this gives them white back. Gonna discard the Barren Desolation from hand. And Bloodjade Prophet, that is very strong. And can definitely let them gas back up right here. It brought in the Invalidates. Interesting. I don't think that they're very relevant for this matchup. Not sure why Cyanogynist kept in the Duresses either. I've neglected to notice the main deck Duresses when I was going over sideboarding, but yeah, those should definitely come out here is my intuition. Looks like Cyanogynist binned, Invalidate, but grabbed the Duress. Okay, so David's gonna hardcast Shawlbinder, and use it to flicker the Shrouded Rooftops. Interesting. Is gonna force Cyanogynist to take the the Torment trigger again. So probably going to lose 3 life here. Okay, he's going to try to Duress David. In response, David's going to run out the out-of-body experience on the Bloodjade Prophet, which is fine, I guess. Does give Cyanogynist a flying card here. And Cyanogynist brought in the Unbreachable Walls. Weird. Again, I don't think that this is a matchup for that, but he's going to counter the Unbreachable Walls. David reveals 2 lands, so basically has 0 action going on here. Of course, if Cyanogynist also is not going to swing into the Bloodjade, so which indicates, I think, that Cyanogynist doesn't have anything going on as well, and therefore wants to keep this Bloodjade up. I do think that you could probably just swing at that and force a trade, but I guess the worry is, what if David draws a creature before I do? Oh, David top decks a Servant of Akatosh. Going to swing in with the Shawlbinder now. Cyanogynist is going to take 4 there. Okay, so it looks like Cyanogynist is just going to Pitwilt the Servant of Akatosh, which also explains why they swung in with the Bloodjade Prophet on their own turn. So down to the wire right here. Both players with 1 card in hand, presumably useless cards. And they're kind of just trying to run down the clock on each other. Oh, but David being able to Unending Sands for a Ravaged Monument changes this equation a lot. Fetchable creature lands, baby. And like a 4/4 is pretty big. It increases this clock to a 2-turn clock. So going to swing in for 7, put Cyanogynist down to 5. So now it basically has to keep the Bloodjade Prophet back, because otherwise just dies. And if David draws into a removal spell, Cyanogynist just dies as well. But is swinging in with the Bloodjade, do you have 2 blockers, Cyanogynist? I don't... No, it's just going to end. Why? Could have at least traded the Ravaged Monument with David and bought themselves a turn. Oh no, sorry, that wouldn't have worked, because the Ravaged Monument has Trample. No, it doesn't have Trample. Never mind. So yeah, just trade the Ravaged Monument with the Bloodjade Prophet, and then Shawlbinder kicks in for 3, but you buy yourself a turn. Unless Cyanogynist... Yeah, okay, maybe this is literally just saying, hey, I have a removal spell. And it has to be Engrave, too. Because... No, it can't be Engrave. Because... Because my thought is, Engrave is the only thing that can kill Ravaged Monument. Because Pitwilt says non-land, and Ravaged Monument is still a land. Okay, he's going to Scion for a Shawlbinder. Shawlbinder the Scion. That's value. And then swings in for 3 with the Shawlbinder. I think was aware that Cyanogynist had the removal spell, so didn't go for it there. But the only removal spell that they could have had that would have dealt with the Ravaged Monument was Engrave, so it had to be Pitwilt. Okay, on end step, going to grab a Servant of Akatosh with the Scion. But yeah, this game, yeah, Cyanogynist just going to concede. Scion was like the real MVP of that game. Just generated David so much card advantage, and made it so that he could just outgrind Cyanogynist by trading 1 for 1 and still being up. And Cyanogynist just wasn't able to find their Soulblades or any explosive plays like that. So, still, good games to both players. And until next time, this is Caillou signing off.